connect. You're good.
We're connected? Okay. Hi everybody, I'm Deborah Bucher with Deborah Bucher Designs, and this is my very good friend Pamela, and she has a painting company called the Flying Pig Furniture Painting Company. And we're coming to you live. Hopefully the internet out here will work long enough for us to get through this. We've got a rainstorm going on. We've got hail coming down right now, and we're out here in Pamela's she shed where all of her creations come to life. And so if any of you have questions for us, we would love to know. Pamela's going to share with you how she got started in this business and how she's had to make adjustments to make her business grow, and how she creates her masterpieces. So, Pamela, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate this. This is something I wanted to do for a long time. And we're really good friends, so this conversation will end up being like girl talk. Are there questions?
Jonathan says, "Hi, Pam." And then Sue Marshall says, "Hello from New York."
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Sue.
So, why don't you tell everybody how we met each other?
Well, the way we met is I was working on my first whimsical piece, and I wanted to know how to paint Harlequin. So I went on YouTube, and there was a lady painting Harlequin, and she was using something called Dixie Belle paint. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'd really like to find some of that. And I was looking for a particular orange. So I looked up and found Deborah Bucher and visited your shop, and it was just a match made in heaven, I guess.
It was. It was. We went on a road trip together like 3 months later.
We did. That was a lot of fun. So I found Dixie Belle paint, and I fell in love. It was the easiest paint I have ever worked with. So from there, I just started creating.
That's right. So, your favorite style of furniture is whimsical.
Right.
And if you could just move around and give everybody the best shot you can on this piece of furniture with a Harlequin on the top, and then show them that beautiful fabric that she has decoupaged on there. It has little rhinestones on it. I don't know if that comes in good or not. But Pamela doesn't do a lot of the whimsical anymore because she's moved up here into the mountains, and people up here prefer more wildlife, more mountain kind of furniture, cabinish kind of furniture. So explain to them what you had to do to make that shift.
Well, it was quite a shift. I've never worked with anything cabin. So up here, I have a booth in the Pine Top Lakeside area.
And what's the name of your booth?
It's the Red Door Furniture Decor off of Porter Mountain in Lakeside. And the first set of furniture I took in, everything was very whimsical because that's how I paint. And the people fell in love with it. But can you paint deer or elk or bear? So I just switched gears and started trying to find decoupage tissue and different stencils and just different cabin type things. And so my style didn't change, but my method of painting changed because I was running a business, and you've got to cater to your base and the clientele.
Exactly.
So that's how the mountain painting came to be.
And I think that's really an important thing that I wanted to share with you guys because, like I said, her heart is whimsical, and that's what feeds her soul. And to run a business, she had to realize, and then she had to switch and make that change to make that business successful, and that's what she did. But she also, every now and then, just to feed her own soul, will do whimsical pieces, and that's what she has in her she shop right now, is 2 pieces, and there's more and inside the house that will go, pieces that match the set. And one of the things that she does super well, I think, is she uses a lot of fabric for her decoupage. Now, this is coming from a girl who loves to decoupage, and I usually use tissue or napkins or paper to do my decoupage, and she uses more fabric than she does. She does use the tissues, and I had designed some tissues specifically for her, but she has a big selection of fabric that she uses, and I'd like you guys to see some of the choices that she has up here.
Yes, and then we have a bunch of people saying hello. So
Oh, cool.
Sharon says, hi, ladies.
Hello.
Elaine
Sharon.
says, hello, friends. Cecile says, hello from Canada.
Oh, nice.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
a hard one.
Hey, Wendy.
Wendy says hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Karen says hello.
Hello.
And that's about it.
Well, cool. So happy. So tell them about your fabric selection.
So what I started doing a few years ago when I started this is everywhere I went, I would look at fabric, whether it was on clearance but you have to think, or at least I did, outside the box. I think that's about the only way I can think. And don't just think Hobby Lobby fabric store, think shower curtains, think Goodwill has a section of regular window curtains. Anything that is fabric can be decoupaged. And so that's what I do. And with the cabin motif, I always try to find something that's got the elk, the deer. Up here we don't have moose, but I still find that it sells.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always have everything I can find in stock. The patriotic stuff I do sells really well up here too.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I pull a piece in, I have something to choose from, and that's how the rhinestone fabric on this one came to be, because I knew I wanted to paint something fun, but it still needed to be not crazy whimsical. And I remembered that I had that fabric, and I think I got that fabric like 4 years ago at Hobby Lobby, and it's just been sitting there. So always think outside the box.
She's got some music fabric here.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that pretty? Love that.
And then once I choose what fabric or tissue paper I want, then I come over to the paint and match the paint to the fabric, and it just slowly evolves into a piece. And whether I do stripes or harlequins or trees, whatever I want to paint, usually comes from starting either here or the stencils and decoupage that I have. But I always keep it on hand, because up here it's kind of hard to just run to town and get what we want. So we can't do that here.
So we'll sit back down. Explain to them when you asked me to design tissue paper, and then how that evolved with a companion piece of tissue.
Oh, I love this. So Deborah let me know that she had the ability to create tissue paper in whatever design I wanted. It's very difficult to find mountain designs in decoupage tissue. So one of the things I've noticed is you can find a tissue, but it's always a certain size, and then you're left with nothing else for the rest of your pieces. So I ask you, what about a companion piece? Which what you did for me, and I have it, is the front piece was deer and beautiful trees. So Deborah took part of that, which were just the trees, and designed a tissue that would be a companion. So if I were doing the deer on the front of a dresser, I now had tissue paper that matched, but wasn't the focal point that I could put on the sides, or maybe switch it around and put the main one on the top, and I could use the companion pieces for the drawer. It's worked out really well.
And that was such a cool thing. I mean, that's the really fun thing about what she does and what I do, and how working together and just being really good friends, where she could just say, hey, could you do this? How that evolved. And that wasn't happening anywhere else. I've never seen decoupage tissue have companion pieces. So I've been designing and keeping those kind of things in mind, but I think it's such a cool idea to share with you guys. She does a lot of things that no one else is doing, and she's so successful at her shop that there have been times when she and her husband are unloading finished furniture to take in to put into her booth that it sells before it ever gets out of the truck. It just goes from their truck into the buyer's truck. And she has to paint. She's the fastest painter I've ever seen. This woman paints like she's possessed. And it's a good thing because she can barely keep her booth full, and she has a big booth, you guys, and her furniture goes in and goes out. And the reason why I wanted to share that with you is in today's economy, if you wanted a way to just add a little extra income to your household, this is a really good place to start. Lots of times people just give furniture away for free or set it out on a sidewalk for free. I have a picture of your husband rolling a big armoire down the street, down blocks of streets to get to their house. It was too big to put in a vehicle, and he's just rolling it down the street, and it was for free. So I only mention this in today's economy. This is a fun way and maybe a way for some of you to add extra income to your households. And I'm not only a retailer for Dixie Belle, but I also carry Wise Owl, Redesign with Prima, Roy Cycle Decoupage Tissues, and Deborah Bucher Design Decoupage Tissues, Posh Pigments, and Widget. So it's one-stop shopping if you guys want to take a look at my website. And also I'm on YouTube, and I'm working super hard to build my YouTube channel. So if you guys would go over to YouTube and look up Deborah Bucher Designs and subscribe, that would just be awesome. And I do put content up there that isn't on Facebook also. So tell us how you ended up out here in your she shed.
Well, when we moved up here, I started my business in Sun City, and I had a sunroom. So we just laid tarps down on the tile, and I began to paint out there, and it worked. But when we came up here, I had nowhere to paint. So I was laying tarps in my entryway and in my dining room, and it was really disruptive for the house. So we knew we needed a place. I found some furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and I went just about a mile around the corner here to pick it up, and this shed was in these people's yard. And I just flippantly said, gosh, I need one of those in my backyard. And the gentleman said, well, if you can move it, it's yours. So it was literally gifted to us.
That's so awesome.
It was a lot of fun. It was nerve-wracking because we hired a company here locally, and they brought a crane and literally lifted it up, set it on a big trailer, carried it over or hauled it over here, and then again lifted it up and over the trees and set it down. And then because we're in a cold climate most of the time, we had to have it insulated, which we also use someone local to do that. And then I was able to work out here, and because I have so many paints out here, I have to keep it climate controlled. Right. So we do have an air conditioner and a heater, and this is my getaway from the world. Every now and then I'll have someone open the door, but most of the time I turn on music and just create.
Yeah, it's so awesome in here. I'm so jealous that she has this she shed, and you can see that she has organized it very well. And she does have heat in here in the winter time, and she does have to keep the heat on because the paint can't be stored lower than 60 degrees. So that's something to think about in whatever region you're living in. And then in the summer times, it's not as hot up here as it is down in the valley. I think it's 106 down there today, and we've got rain and hail out here. So maybe 50 today, 60.
I don't know.
What it is, but
Beautiful.
yeah. But she does need to, keep it, like she said, climate controlled. But then she has everything at her fingertips, and it's no longer disrupting her home, which is, important for a lot of us. I have reorganized my house many times, and my dining room, living room is where I warehouse all of my inventory for all of my website sales. And I was painting and doing the lives out of my family room kitchen, and it was just driving me crazy. And then my daughter came over and helped me reorganize, and my granddaughter, and we cleaned out a spare bedroom and moved it all in there. And I'm a much happier person having it contained mostly in one room and not all the rooms in my house. And I know a lot of people like me, like you, do end up having it spread all throughout their house. And I just want to share that there are alternatives. If you have a place where you can afford to put a she shed in, that's really awesome. If you can clean out a spare bedroom and move everything in there, that's another alternative. If you don't, just paint in your house. Just make it happen, people. As your business grows, then you can make new decisions and change things around.
Right. When I started painting, you said you wanted me to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for people to know, if you're just starting out, and you had mentioned the economy, if you want to just make a little extra money, you can look on Marketplace, garage sales. Just find a simple piece of furniture, and you don't get to where I am overnight. I've been doing this for 4 years.
Right.
I never purposed to go into business. I just kind of I found myself selling pieces of furniture on Marketplace, and it evolved into this. But you do not have to be professional to make money at this.
Right.
There are certain things I've found that are very important. You have to have a quality piece of furniture. So when you're picking furniture, make sure, if you're not really good at fixing things, that there's nothing to fix on it. Now,
Really
if
good
it's
point.
just ugly, we can fix that easily. And there's a few things I learned along the way. One of them is a quality paint. Before I found your paint, I had just gone to Lowe's. I think it was Lowe's or Home Depot, and I had purchased a relatively inexpensive chalk paint and thought, oh, it's just paint, right?
Chalk paint is chalk paint.
It's not true. It's not true at all. And it was a nightmare. I painted a hutch for my mother. I have since repainted it in Dixie Belle, but you'll get frustrated really, really quickly if you're not using a quality paint. You'll find that if you use a quality paint, it goes further, and you just won't have the nightmare streaks and all the chalky awfulness that I had at the beginning. Right. And I guess the other thing I've learned is to try to let go of perfectionism. It's been hard. It's been really hard for me. But you can make yourself crazy. There have been times where I have picked up the phone and called Deborah and said, this is not a friend call. This is a business call. And I was so frustrated. You have to let go of that, because once you help me, and actually my husband helped me, see that what you're doing is art, and art's not perfect, then I was able to at least work on a little bit of the perfectionism. You can make a little extra money doing this if you want to, and you work really hard. It's not always easy. You can turn it into a business, and I've been able to do that and have a really nice supplemental income for our family. I also know at this point in my business that if I had to, I could make it a full-time, full-on business, and I could do better than I do. But I'm blessed right now to still be able to
go camping.
Yes, do the things I love to do. Come out here now. Custom pieces are a little bit different. I try not to take very many of them because they make me crazy. I'm getting better at that too, because what I fret over is a little tiny imperfection, and then when the customer sees the overall piece, they fall in love with it, and all that worrying and fret was for nothing. So you can make money at it. You've got to learn not to spend too much on your piece. You need to learn where's your market. Who are you selling to? Can you get $300 for a dresser, or can you get 5 or 6? In this market, you're gonna get about 3 to 4 for a dresser,
which is still good money.
It is. Well, certainly these pieces were given to me. They were free
this
on
is
Marketplace.
So beautiful.
So you just learn. So it's where do you see yourself? What do you need from your business, and you go from there. So.
And let's talk about contracts.
Oh, well, those are important.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't use contracts at the beginning, and I had a nightmare of a dining room table that I was redoing for this lady, and she wanted it very whimsical, and we had gone over what she wanted, and I ended up having to repaint it. And I mean, I spent hours and hours on
so
that.
Detailed, you guys. So
it
detailed.
was hours with a tiny little paintbrush, and at the end of the day, what I learned is sometimes your customers don't really know what they want. They think they know, and they think they're articulating it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to communicate.
So contracts are very important. You get exactly the colors. You get the design. If you don't draw well, do what I do. Do it anyway. Draw it out. This is what we've agreed to. Sign on the dotted line. Now, I will repaint it if you don't like it, but it will be an extra charge.
Right.
That's also in the contract.
Right.
And it just goes better. It goes better that way.
It does. So if you start out doing this, like if you find some furniture, and even if you're just doing it for your own family in your own home, that's a good place to start and learn how to use the paint. And I do teach classes online for free every single Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Every single Tuesday I'm doing a live showing you different techniques and different ways to decoupage and stencil and all kinds of things. So that's a good place for free instruction. And like I said, I'm on YouTube, but there are a lot of really great painters on YouTube. And so it doesn't take very long. Like Pamela said, having a good paint product matters. I just cringe when people tell me that, oh, the paint at Home Depot and Lowe's is the same thing and it costs less money. And I'm like, it's not the same. It's going to chip, it's going to wear, it's not going to hold up. And when you put all of this time and effort into a piece, especially if you're selling it to someone else, you want it to be the best quality there is. You don't want it to chip off. This paint self-cures in 20 to 30 days, depends on what your climate is. Like down in the valley, it's going to cure pretty darn fast. Up here, because they have cooler temperatures and more humidity than we have down in the valley, it's going to take a little longer. And so if you're living in Florida, you need to know those things. But she has evolved into such an amazing business and has such a strong following of people. And because we're such good friends, I know what some of the obstacles have been that she has overcome. And I just thought it would be really fun to come share these things with you guys. So are there any questions or comments?
Yes. Okay. So Lisa says, hello, ladies.
Hello.
Laura says, hi from PA.
Hello.
Lisa also says, I hang my fabric on pant hangers too.
It's perfect.
And then Jonathan says, Pam has the best booth at the Red Door shop. No joke. Some are close second, but none are better.
Yay.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yep, and those are all of the things.
Okay, cool. So, I'm just trying to think of if there's anything else we should cover.
Well, yes, because not everybody that paints does it professionally.
Mhm.
When this all started for me, Robert and I were living in a park model, little bitty tiny 800 square foot park model. And we had it remodeled, and we didn't have the money to buy nice furniture. So I did what I do. I went thrift shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I found coffee tables at Goodwill for $7 a piece. I'm still using those same coffee tables.
But you've repainted them.
I have repainted them several times. I found a dining room table, and that was the very first thing I ever painted. And it was a lot of fun, but I was using a different product, and so it didn't go as well as it did later on when I found this one. But I found that I could take, I think I paid $30 for that dining room table and 6 chairs and a leaf. And my mother and I got out in our driveway and we sanded the thing down because it was in terrible shape. And I painted it and I put it in, and no one ever knew that I bought that coffee table for $30 or $40 at Goodwill.
Right.
And so I kind of got the bug. So when we sold that park model and we bought a home after we retired, which was the opposite, but that's how we did it. Again, I was house poor, and I couldn't go to, say, you know, a big box furniture store and spend
thousands.
I couldn't do it. So I did the same thing again. I looked on Marketplace. I went to the thrift stores, to Goodwill, to all Savers in the Valley. And I started buying furniture pieces, and that's how I started painting furniture. So, you know, I started looking at things differently. Things on the side of the road, I'm like, I can make that pretty, and that would go in this room or that room. And I was able to create a beautiful home and furnish. I don't believe that there was one piece in there that came from anything other than a thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the same color of paint, you can make everything cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I started. So, you know, you don't always have to look at painting furniture as a business. It can be a way for you to revamp your home.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so, and then from there, I got the bug and started doing it for other people, and it was going well, so it evolved into what it is today. But you can go on Deborah's website and get some colors you love, and that old yucky piece of furniture that, you know, Aunt Susie or whomever gave to you, you can make pretty. And the other thing is, it's just practice.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did and how I found you was going online on YouTube, and I thought, how do I do this? And so I YouTubed it. I watched so many videos at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't watch as many now because I kind of have found my way.
Mm-hmm.
And
You've got your own style.
I do, and I know you laugh at me about it a lot, but it would be hard for me to teach someone to do what I do because I never know. It just
happens.
It just happens.
It's magic, people.
But that's not really true, because what you have to do is learn the basics.
Uh-huh.
There is a basic way to do a stripe so you don't get bleed through. There's a basic way to top coat. Oh, how much fun did I have with top coat at the beginning? There's a way to top coat things so that you don't have people coming back to you later, or even on your own dining room table, have to redo it because you've got water rings. Or so there's just basic things, and you can learn those by watching you on Tuesday or watching some of the other videos. There's a lot out there.
There is a lot out there. You've got some questions?
We've got some questions
Okay.
over here. Alrighty. So, Lisa says the contract is a great and much needed component to success.
Mhm.
Micheline says, hi, ladies.
Oh,
Hi
hi,
there.
Micheline. We love you.
Vicky Bucher says, hello.
Oh, hi, Vicki. Thanks for joining us.
And then Royce says, "Hi, ladies."
Hey,
hi, Royce.
We love Royce.
One of my favorite people.
Yes, absolutely.
I haven't got to meet you yet, but I would like to one day.
And she is an amazing creator also. She is the creator of most of the decoupage tissue that I sell. And she's also on YouTube and on Facebook, so look her up. She's amazing.
And then Laura says, "Do you ever use the paint in a spray application?"
Well, I have sprayed, and we're getting ready to spray some more furniture over at my daughter's this week. I prefer painting, and two reasons for that. I know a lot of people spray, and it's very fast and successful for them. But you need to have an area dedicated to spraying if you're going to spray a lot of furniture. For me, it uses more paint. You have to thin it down, and it takes several spray coats, and you actually end up using more paint than if you brush it on. It's faster, so your time is less, but it does cost you more. But sometimes if you have trouble getting your top coats on, I know a lot of people who spray their top coats on and have a beautiful result. If you have a place where you can leave a paint room up all the time, that would be a dream. That would be like having a she shed here. So it just depends on if you're doing it professionally and you have the ability to do that, then go for it. Otherwise, I just say paintbrush gets a beautiful result.
I have never sprayed, and I think the way I look at it is it might be a little limiting, and I don't like to be limited. I love the paintbrush. I love the feel of the brush in my hand.
I love the sound of the brush.
Yes.
That's crazy. If I haven't painted for a while and you get that paintbrush going across a piece of furniture, it makes a sound. And I just like go, oh, this feels so good.
Okay, and then Elaine says, "Are there videos on using fabric on furniture?"
I'm sure there are. I just haven't seen them. But you could just go on YouTube and look, or Deborah could show you how. You could make that one of your Tuesdays.
Yeah, I could do that on a Tuesday. But honestly, if you went on YouTube and just did a search, I don't know if you guys know, but YouTube is the second largest search engine. Google first, YouTube is second, which is part of Google. And if you just search on there for fabric decoupaging, you're going to find something. I mean, I go to YouTube, how do I screw this in, or how do I repair that in, and it's always there. I mean, when I was doing corbels on a window a couple of weeks ago, they had etched into the tops of the corbels where you attach your screws to slide that in, and I conceptually knew what I needed to do, but I just wanted the assurance and confidence that I was doing it correctly. So I searched how do you install corbels on YouTube, and 5 videos popped up.
I did it through trial and error, and a lot of error at the beginning.
YouTube everything.
I used the iron-on method, which is by far the easiest decoupage method I have found, and you can find that on YouTube.
And
Deborah,
I have lots of videos on
that.
And classes.
Fabric is really the same method that you use to do your tissue papers. There's a learning curve. If it's a thick fabric, if it's a thin fabric. And we're both available. I have a Facebook page that you can go through my furniture painting Facebook page, and you can always ask questions
which
that I'd
the
be
name
happy to
is
answer. The Flying Pig Furniture Painting on Facebook. So, and I'm always available. If you shoot me a message, I can answer and tell you some of the things I've learned. I'm not a great teacher, but I'm a great answerer.
And then Laura just says, "Thank you for answering the question."
Oh, great. So, piggybacking off what you were talking about, painting for your own home and decor, I don't know if you guys have been following along in the last 2 weeks, but last week I was up here in Heber-Overgaard, and we were doing lots of home improvement projects in my daughter's cabin, and one of those was putting
Trying to reconnect. We're good.
We're good? Okay, so these girls painted bedroom walls, and then we moved on into another room, and my daughter had wanted to paint one wall like a dark navy blue, and she's learned from me to let the room or let the furniture speak to you or guide you on what you should do. So then they ended up painting 2 walls. And last week and this week, I've been painting kitchen cabinets. They're almost done. And I put Abby, who's our camera girl, I put her to work, and she's done the base coats on a bathroom floor. So, you know, on the tops of furniture like this, when they don't have a wood grain on them, there's a tool, a wood grain tool, and do you have it handy?
I sure do.
And you can put a wood grain on top of anything, and I've done it on a lot of tops of furniture. Is it clean enough for me to roll over the top of this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you can bring the camera around.
Yes, and Vicky said you had done cabinets. Is this the same paint you use?
Last week?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still painting cabinets, and that was the silk paint for the cabinets, because that's 3 paints in one. That's the primer, the color, and the top coat, and it just saves you money and a lot of time. And cabinets are labor intensive, and that's a very small kitchen, and truly I thought I could knock it out a lot faster than it's taken me, but it's almost done. So back to this tool, and just for an example, we're doing this on the bathroom floor because my daughter wasn't ready to put all new flooring downstairs, and that bathroom floor just drove me crazy. So I said, let's paint it. And right now her husband is freaking out because he thinks the floor is black. It's actually a dark, I forgot to bring your paint back. It's called coffee bean, so it's a dark brown, and it has 2 coats of slick stick on it, and then it has 2 coats of the coffee bean on it. And when he walks by, he says, who paints their bathroom floor black? That looks terrible. And he's having a fit. But when I'm done with it, I'll be using this tool on it, and there'll be a video coming up, so watch for it. But you just take this and you just rub it along and rock it back and forth, and drag it a little bit. And it makes a really cool wood grain. You know how you get the circles in the wood? It will make long lines, and it'll make the circle like where the knots are in your wood. It's really cool. And you use several different colors when you're doing this. So the colors I'll be putting on that dark coffee bean will be chocolate and pine cone, and when I'm finished, that will look like a wood plank floor, and it'll be really cool. And it was cheap. It was cheaper than putting down vinyl flooring, which she'll do eventually, but she'll put it throughout the whole downstairs when she's ready to do it. It was a short-term fix, and that's like what you were talking about. If you can't afford, this is a really cool thing to do. I have many videos on using this tool, and I'll be popping up another one here shortly. So, and so getting back to just doing pieces for yourself or for your family and not necessarily selling them, this is really good for your budget. And we have painted every single piece of furniture in Jennifer's cabin, and she uses that as an Airbnb. And it's beautiful. I mean, because I've painted all the furniture, but it is really, really beautiful because we've been able to customize the colors. Like if she finds a bedspread, I can customize the color by just mixing colors to match it. And it's very unique, and people come in and just are amazed. They want to know where all the furniture's come from. So I hope this time with you today has been inspirational and gives you guys ideas of what you can do for your own home. And if you need a few extra bucks, maybe this will be something that you can do to add to your family. Put groceries and gas in your car, most of all.
So Lisa says, you and your daughter took on a huge cabin project. And then she also said, I've been using the graining tool since the 70s.
Isn't it cool? It's a
Love
really
it.
cool tool.
Yeah. I use it a lot in the cabin furniture that I paint. I do it a lot on the tops because a lot of times you'll find a piece of furniture like this one that has no texture whatsoever, but I can make it look like logs, wood logs, and I love that.
And it does add texture. It's a really cool tool.
And then Elaine says, is the coffee bean on flooring silk paint?
No, that's a chalk paint. And when you're doing, I would not use the wood grain tool with any of the silk paint. The silk paint is a completely different product line from the chalk paint. And the reason why I wouldn't is the silk paint has a very short open time, because it has that built-in top coat, and that's why you don't use water with it. That's why you don't backstroke on it. You just put the paint on, let it self-level, and let it dry. With the chalk paint, you have a longer open time, so you can be more artistic, you can be more creative, you can do blending with it. You cannot blend with silk paint. And if you want to do a wood grain with it, you've got a nice open time. I'll demonstrate. If you do a grain and you don't like it, you just take that wet paint and go back over it again and then do it again till you have a wood grain design that you like. It's very user-friendly, chalk paint is.
No more questions right now.
No more questions?
No more questions.
Well, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I other than just encourage whoever wants to make their home beautiful or make a little extra money, pick up some Dixie Belle or Wise Owl. I've just begun to start adding the Wise Owl to my collection. But get a good quality paint and don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, that's
the
super
thing.
important.
Most of the content creators, the brand ambassadors, people like Royce, anytime I've ever had a question, everyone is really good about getting back to me and sharing their knowledge. So that's how you learn.
Yeah, it is.
Vicky wants to know if does the silk paint chip?
No. Mm-mm. No, and neither does the chalk paint. You know, if you want to do a chippy finish, if that farmhouse or chippy finish is your thing, you can do that with the chalk paint. But it's a good quality paint, and it is going to adhere to your furniture if you follow proper instruction. And it's going to last, and it's going to last for years. It's going to last for decades if you're taking proper care of it.
And then Lisa wants to know, what top coat will you use on the painted floor?
I'm going to use varnish, the Wise Owl varnish on that floor, and because it's not high traffic, it's not like going through the middle of the house, it's in the bathroom, which, you know, does get used a lot, and people are getting in and out of the shower and brushing their teeth and stuff, so I will put a minimum of 3 coats of the varnish on there, and that will protect that finish. And, you know, when you go to mop it and clean it, you're just going to use soap and water to clean it, and that's it.
And then Elaine says, does wood grain tool make paint surfaces bumpy to touch?
It does put texture in it.
Those are all of our questions right now.
Okay. Well, you guys, I thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your questions. And like Pamela said, we're both here to reach out and encourage you to reach out to other creators and brand ambassadors. When you see them doing projects and work, reach out to them. I do have all of the paint products. I am an elite retailer for Dixie Belle, so I carry the full line for Dixie Belle. And I am a retailer for Wise Owl, and I love their paints. And they've just come out with new colors this week, which I'll have on my website. Sometime this week, I'll get it done. Roy Cycle has just released another new release of decoupage tissues, which will be popping up on my website soon. And I just sent off, I think, 10 or 12 new designs to get printed of my own that will be coming back shortly. I teach classes every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I also have online classes that are available that you can take at your leisure on my website, and you have access to them for 3 months, and you can go back and watch them over and over again. And for the month of July at Ground Floor Artists, where my booth is, and also, so if you go online, there are a bunch of classes in July. It's Christmas in July at Deborah Bucher Designs, and there's all kinds of fun projects, fun for the whole family. So if you've got kids and you want to do a project together, sign up. It's July. Today's July 1st. Let's get busy.
Okay, and then Sharon says a lot of good information.
Thank you.
Vicky says thanks for all the information. And then Elaine says, is there a smell to the varnish?
Oh, that's such a good question. All of these paints, Wise Owl and Dixie Belle, are no VOCs. There are no smells to anything. And we're sitting in a shed that is full of paint and furniture. There is no smell, and it's safe to paint for children's furniture. It's amazing. It's really the best paint out there. Okay, so again, thanks so much for watching, and if you think of any questions that we didn't cover, feel free to reach out to both of us, and you guys have a great day, and thanks so much.